Some legendary singers simply need to quit, and yes, that's my opinion. Their voices are gone, their bodies are tired, and the stage is no longer their friend. I love these icons, but keeping the show alive is now doing more harm than good. Tonight, we're looking at the singers who should finally step away, while their legacy still shines. Frankie Valli is a legend, no question about it, but at this point, even his biggest fans are saying the quiet part out loud. He really should retire. He's in his 90s, and the voice that once soared through Sherry and Can't Take My Eyes Off You just isn't there anymore. At recent shows, people describe him as barely singing at all. The backing vocalist doing almost everything while he whispers a few lines on top. Some fans have said it feels like watching your grandfather being pushed on stage because the machine won't stop. And honestly, it's uncomfortable. There's no power, no control or spark, just a frail version of a man who wants to find a whole era of pop. This isn't about disrespect, it's about dignity. Frankie Valli gave the world more than enough. Now it's time for him to rest instead of letting audiences watch the slow fade of an icon. I love Dylan, and his importance to music is unquestioned. But if you've seen him live in recent years, you know exactly why fans keep saying, yeah, it's time. He's 84, and the live shows feel less like performances and more like endurance tests. The voice is basically gone. It's that gravelly talk singing style that people on Reddit describe as mumbling through his own songs. And the rearrangements. Some nights it feels like he's actively trying to make sure nobody recognizes anything. Even diehard fans admit the sets are sleepy, tired, and sometimes just rough to sit through. He barely interacts with the audience, barely moves, and half the classics sound like abstract covers of themselves. Dylan isn't adding to the legacy at this point. He's stretching it thin. Maybe the kindest thing he could do is finally take a bow.
Maybe I didn't love you quite as often as I could have.
And then we have Willie Nelson. He truly is a living monument. And the fact that he can still release albums like Oh What a Beautiful World and Working Man Willie Sings Merle at over 90 years old is something we should all be grateful for. But there's a difference between celebrating a legend's presence and watching him slowly burn out on stage. Nowadays, Willie's voice sounds like an old campfire that refuses to go out.
Maybe I didn't hold you.
There's still a warm glow in there, but the flames just don't rise anymore. Fans who see him live describe shaky phrasing, fading projection, and a performer who often looks exhausted before the first chorus lands. And honestly, nobody wants to witness a man of his stature slowly crumble under stage lights. His songs, his stories, and his whole spirit already belong to history. Willie doesn't need to prove anything anymore. Retirement isn't quitting at this age, it's choosing not to die on stage.
You were always on my mind. You were always on my mind.
Only very recently last month, David Coverdale finally said the words everyone had been expecting. It's time to hang up my platform shoes and skin-tight jeans.
The last few years has been very evident to me that it's time really for me to hang up my rock and roll platform shoes and my skin-tight jeans, but it's time for me to call it a day.
And honestly, it wasn't a day too soon. Over the past decade, fans watched one of hard rock's greatest voices struggle through shows that no longer matched the legacy he built. Years of throat and sinus issues took a real toll. It was forcing cancellations and leaving his vocals thinner and weaker. He was often propped up by backing singers. People who saw Whitesnake's final tours remarked that he looked tired, pushed to the edge and fighting battles his body simply couldn't win anymore. Coverdale's swagger, charm, and presence never left him, but the voice that once defined an era was clearly fading. His retirement wasn't just expected, it felt like the last kind act he could do for his own legacy. Sometimes knowing when to stop is the real high note. Neil Young is the definition of a rock elder who refuses to fade quietly. At 78, he's still writing and still releasing new music. He formed a new backing band called the Chrome Hearts, and he just keeps moving forward. But the past few years have shown the other side of that ambition. His 2024 tour with Crazy Horse fell apart after multiple cancellations, and fans started wondering whether the physical grind of touring was finally catching up with him. He recently announced a 2026 European leg of the Love Earth tour, but the reactions online say it all. Some fans are excited, but many admit they're nervous. They are worried that the shows will get canceled again, or that Young simply won't sound strong enough to carry a full set. It's inspiring to see an artist with this much fire left. But at some point, drive alone isn't enough. Even legends hit limits, and Young may be staring right at his.
I crossed the ocean for a heart of gold. I left my home, my family. No more than a boy, accompanying strangers.
Paul Simon already retired once, back in 2018 or after losing hearing in his left ear. For most artists, that would have been the end. But at 83, he came back anyway, launching the 2025 A Quiet Celebration Tour. Admirable? Absolutely. But it's also clear that the years have taken a real toll. He's canceled shows due to chronic and intense back pain, openly admitting the pain had become unmanageable.
It's a wonder I can't think at all.
Critics note that his recent performances are stripped down, intimate, and carefully paced, not because of artistic choice alone, but because his body can't support the demands of a full tour anymore. Fans are torn. Some are moved just to see him, while others worry the live quality is slipping and that the cancellations will only increase. Simon's legacy is secure. The question now is whether pushing through failing hearing and chronic pain adds to that legacy or risks diminishing it.
In the clearing stands a boxer, a fighter by his trade, and he carries the reminders.
How much longer can an almost 80-year-old cancer survivor keep singing like nothing has changed? That's the question hanging over Rod Stewart every time he announces another tour. He's beaten thyroid cancer and fought off prostate cancer. In 2025, he was still trying to push through the One Last Time tour until illness forced multiple cancellations. Yet he keeps insisting he's nowhere near done. On social media, he declared, "I shall never retire. I was put on this earth to be a singer." It's classic Rod. Charming, defiant, and maybe a little unrealistic. Fans can hear the strain, see the fatigue, and notice how often sickness interrupts his plans. He says he's fit, boasts about his full head of hair, and promises no more world tours. He just don't want to retire. But passion alone can't carry a show forever. At some point, even a legend has to confront what his body is trying to tell him.
But then I know it's growing strong.
Neil Diamond, with the legendary voice, timeless songs, and a catalog that shaped generations. He walked away from touring in 2018 after his Parkinson's diagnosis, and quietly closed the final curtain on decades of electrifying performances. Now rumors swirl. 2026 may bring a so-called One Last Ride tour. On one hand, you want to cheer. Who wouldn't want one final chance to hear Sweet Caroline Life with one more standing ovation for a living icon? On the other hand, fans and critics remember the uncertainty and fragility that forced him off the road in the first place. Bringing him back, especially decades on and with an incurable illness, risks not just disappointment, but a painful, final chapter that might tarnish decades of legacy. Sometimes the greatest tribute to a legend isn't another tour, but letting him walk away while people still remember how precious he was.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. What a beautiful note.
Well, I came upon a child of God. He was walking along the road and
James Taylor is one of the softest and warmest voices ever put to tape. A man whose songs feel like they're woven out of comfort itself. But even longtime fans now admit the live shows just aren't what they used to be. Taylor is well into his 70s, and you can hear every year of it when he sings. The once smooth vocals now come out thin, shaky, and sometimes barely above a whisper.
so close your eyes. You can close your eyes. It's all right.
Fans who grew up with Fire and Rain and Carolina in My Mind often describe recent concerts as sweet but fragile. Some even say it feels like he's holding on more out of routine than passion. His stage presence is still kind and still humble, but the performances don't carry the emotional weight they once did. He's given the world decades of beauty. There's no shame in stepping back now before the softness becomes silence.
And I dreamed I saw the bomb of death ship.
Come in here, dear boy, have a cigar, you're gonna go for.
Now, what about Roger Waters? He is one of those artists where the message is still loud, but the performance delivering it can't keep up. Waters is standing right there now. He's in his 80s, and he's still staging massive politically charged productions. But the man at the center of it all looks and sounds far removed from the force he once was.
It's fantastic, that is really what I think. Oh, by the way, which one's pink?
Fans who come expecting even a shadow of Pink Floyd often leave wondering why the music has taken a backseat to monologues, visuals, and long stretches of spoken word delivery. The voice that once carried The Wall and Animals now wavers, strains, and sometimes gets swallowed by the band behind him. For some people, Waters is still a visionary. For others, it feels like he's holding on because the platform matters more than the performance. And that's exactly when a legend should consider stepping aside, before the message smothers the music.
What have we found? The same old feeling. And I wish that you were here.
And there you have it. The singers who, in my opinion, really should call it a day. Their legacies are incredible, but even legends need to know when the final curtain should fall. Do you agree? Did I miss someone who absolutely belongs on this list? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe for more rock deep dives.
Baby, I can hold you.
Across the moon, I know that's who you are. It's a wonder I can't think at all. Didn't wanna be alone. You stole my soul. I love you.
Touching hands. So close your eyes. You can close your eyes.